You alright, mate?
What, little brother?
Oh, mate, don't. Shut up.
Hello, welcome to Premier Scene. I'm Claire Bueno. As the Odeon Covent Garden welcomes a new breed of vigilante at the world premiere of Piggy.
Remember me, yeah?
What did you think of the material when you first read it?
Well, it's very bleak and dark, and I thought, you know, it's an intelligent exploration of what... There's a kind of... I don't even know what the expression is, really, but that vigilanteism and that call for, you know, vengeance and for violent repercussion to people who've committed crimes or done something wrong in any way. It's really like, well, what happens if we actually follow that through?
Because we've all said it, haven't we? We've all said, you know, if anything happened to my family, I'd go after them.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that sort of slightly Daily Mail attitude of string them up. And it's like, well, actually, okay, so what are the repercussions not only for society, but on an individual personal level? What's the effect on the people who carry out that revenge, you know? Not in a dissimilar way, actually, to what they did with Pierpont a few years ago about the executioner. You know, it's like it has to take some sort of toll on the individual. And that's really what Kieron was interested in and what he made the film about, I think.
It's a very intense film. As I said before, it's a kind of revenge psychological thriller. You know, it's full on. You know, it doesn't let up. And I mean, it is. I mean, a lot of people really kind of became disturbed, I think, by the violence in some ways. And it is a violent film, but the violence, I hope, it's not gratuitous. You know, it's there for a reason. And also, it's just one of those things, you know, where the violence is real, and I think that's why it's freaking people out, because it's a sickening feeling seeing someone being punched on the street, or even a fight's kicking off. You know, you get that nauseating feeling. It's not nice, and hopefully we've portrayed it the way it actually would look real. So I think it'll do all right. I
think the way that it's edited as well it's been handled very well, really, because it could have been a lot more gratuitous.
Yeah, no, again, I think, there's one particular scene that I think most people will get. We'll say disturbed by, but I think when you watch it back, you don't actually see a lot. A lot of it's done in the sound design and, you know, the camera angles and moving about. So I think we've shot it quite cleverly, and I think, what was one thing what Kieron said with it. Violence shouldn't be glorified in films, you know. Maybe it should for fantasy and stuff, but for our kind of thing, we've tried to just make it as real as possible, and I hope that comes across.
And how does that affect you when you're on set? Because obviously they are powerful scenes. Yeah. Do you take a residue with you at the end of the day?
They're boring, man. I know it sounds daft, but especially if there's effects, they're so tedious because it's so technical and everything. The blood has to go a certain way. You have the prosthetic stuff. It's not that fun. There's some when it's actually fight scenes, it's quite cool and you get a bit of rough and tumble. But no, say like stabbing scenes or something, they're just really technical, and it takes a lot to make it look right, you know.
Hello, mate. Who are you?
I'm Piggy, John.
Kieron, you've worked with before because he edited your film. Can you tell us a little more about your relationship and why you wanted to be on board here?
Well, me and Kieron have been sort of best mates since we were teenagers, actually, and so when he went to film school, I did all of his shorts, even the sort of real experimental small films that he did then, and we've always been mates. So now he's not allowed to do films unless I'm involved in them in some way, and we're about to start a Channel 4 sitcom called The Mimic that he's directing as well. So
well, tell us a little bit more about that. Give it a plug while you're here.
It's sort of about a character which is not played by me, Terry Minot, who's an impressionist. Is playing a character who's sort of socially inept and can only communicate with the outside world through his impressions and his mimicry. He's like a security guard. And so if he goes to the bank, he's Ian McKellen, or if he goes to speak to women, he's Christopher Walken, and I play his best mate, who's a news agent who's terrified of the news. So that's the next. That's the next thing. That starts over the summer.
What's great about this, I would think, then, how independent film does nurture and nourish new talent, doesn't it, really? And is that how you feel?
Well, yeah, hopefully. I think it does. And I mean, it's weird because, that question's come up a couple of times about Kieron being, new talent. And actually, he's been working for ages. And, as you mentioned before, he edited Turnout and he's been editing comedy for a long time and stuff. And, I think he's possibly more established inside the industry than people are aware of. But, that is part of the independent film industry, is keeping people or starting people off.
And this is your baby, so it's a big night for you.
Yeah, it is a very big night. It's a bit bigger than I thought. I thought it was just a couple of mates popping down the cinema.
To see Piggy?
Yeah, just pop down there.
Tell us what inspired you to sit down and write this.
Well, to be honest, it's interesting because I'd written a load of film. I'd written quite a few scripts, and they were sort of tended to be sort of relationship dramas and stuff. And I couldn't get them funded, and so I sort of looked at what was happening in British film and what was getting funded, and it tended to be sort of violent films, or crime-based, something like that. So that was where the original sort of inspiration came from. Was me sort of kicking away at the door for so many years and sort of going, I've got to get in there somehow. So I wrote this, and now it's much more violent than anything else.
Well, people are often shocked at first, and then when they go back to it, it's never as bad as it seems. I mean, the one particular scene I think that everybody's talking about, when I saw it, I actually thought how tastefully and creatively, actually,
tastefully, I like that.
Well, creatively,
like
that it was dealt with and executed.
Yeah.
And the other thing that struck me was the aesthetic of the film. It really is quite a striking looking film. And can you tell us a little bit more about how you created that?
Well, I mean, me and James, James Friend, the DP, I didn't want to do another sort of handheld, sort of like gore festy kind of movie that could be easily dismissed. And I thought that it was very much about, if you take something that's really disgusting and make it really beautiful, that's a really interesting sort of juxtaposition. And so that was really where it came from. It was, trying to make something really savage seem really beautiful, and I think it becomes more confusing, which is what the movie's about. So violence is awful, but people are fascinated by it, and there's a sort of metaphor in there somewhere.
And the grade as well. Can you tell us a bit more about the look and feel, because that also, it has a great finish.
Yeah, I mean, again, that was something that me and James had sort of designed beforehand, but we did go quite heavily stylised, and at times I was thinking, are we going too far? We're not going far enough. But no, I mean, it was all by design, and I think that basically the whole movie takes place in the character of Joe's head. And to be honest, it's like I think about the film as like imagining him telling someone about what had happened years later. So it's that weird dream-like logic and memory logic. And so I wanted it to be a little bit like hazy and a bit weird and a bit detached. And so that was our sort of starting point.
Terrible thing what happened. You must be angry.
Yeah.
Nothing seems to get done about it. Unless you do something yourself.
Your hair's amazing in the film.
Oh, it's great, isn't it? It's white. And I love that it's white. Because you can't really pull that off every day, can you? And I tried, but I couldn't. So.
And you're playing the part of Claire.
Yes.
And now I would say that she is the light relief in the film. Would you agree with me there?
She is. I think she, much like Joe, though, who at the same time you see through his perspective that none of this world, I mean, he can't cope with any of it. And I think she, in the same turn, she's ignorant to all of it, and she's hidden from it. So I suppose the audience can relate to that more. And then right at the end, she's sort of confronted with that, and it's really hard for her to deal with.
How did it affect you when you first sort of read the script? Is it a risk, or is it something that you go, oh my God, this is really worth exploring, and you want to sort of like bring it on really?
Yeah, I think so. I think I was saying just before, I love the fact that there's no redemption at the end. And it's just this desperately sad tale that just gets more and more sad. And I think it's just interesting because the film doesn't take itself too seriously. I mean, it has a comic edge, but it just looks at the fact of how life can unravel and how people can get themselves into situations that there's no way out of.
Did you see your character going on a journey at all through the film?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think she's just an average kind of girl at the beginning who maybe takes things for granted. You know, living in London as you do, and losing one of her best friends, and then again watching this man that she begins to fall in love with, watching him then change and go through this dreadful grief and into something that becomes very vicious. I suppose it makes her understand the world a bit more.
I want to help you. You want my help, didn't you, Joe?
Yeah.
We'll follow him. See where we start. Ready? Steady. One by one, Joe. One by one.
The script for Piggy was an amazing moment for me, because of all the scripts I've ever read, it was the most together and the one that I could see the most. Now, whether that means that it ends up being the best one, or it means it's going to be the best film, I don't know if that correlates. But for me, reading it, I could see it. I could see the film. I could see the scene laying out, and it just attracted me, man. I was just like, do you know what? I love this, and it was so dark side as well, which is very much my, although I'm a nice guy and all that. I love dark movies, dark music, and the dark characters and stuff. So this obviously appealed to me massively. So yeah, the script was amazing.
And you're one of the antagonists
Yeah.
in the film. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think you can say that I'm one of the good guys in it, or the shining light in it. No.
For an actor, it's got to be a lot of fun to play.
It is a lot of fun. I mean, I suppose it's easier to. Well, I'm kind of new to this acting thing anyway. I've never played nice guy, so I couldn't say whether it's easier or harder. But people generally say it's a lot easier to play a nasty guy than a nice guy, and it was good fun.
Working with Kieron.
It's fantastic. He's got a very relaxed manner about him. He's very relaxed on set, the most relaxed director that I've worked with so far personally, and that kind of translated through to everybody. To be honest, it was a breath of fresh air coming on set, because we'd actually stick to the times we were supposed to. We'd shoot the scenes the order we were supposed to. We'd get them done very painlessly, and that was a breath of fresh air for me.
Does it as well, having a director who it keeps the atmosphere light? Does that help during the sort of darker scenes that you're filming?
I don't know. In these situations, I kind of get a bit insular anyway. So to be honest, he put me at ease when I'd come on set, and I'd know that if there was a problem, he'd come and tell me. But generally, I'm quite in my own little world anyway, especially if there's a big, aggressive, violent scene going on. I kind of have to get in that mentality. I can't be all lovey-dovey chatting with the makeup girls, like, gossiping and all that. I've got to sort of take myself apart and, get in focus mode. And, but it's just the general atmosphere that he created on set, the general relaxed vibe. And, I would say it's definitely, conducive to a good film.
It's all right, mate. It's all right.
Are you around this time, Joe? For your beautiful brother.
I read the script actually, and I thought this is an amazing script. It was very dark, and I thought there's only one man who could have done this, and that's Kieron Hawkes. And lo and behold, it was Kieron's film. So it was brilliant to go in and audition, get the part.
And tell us a little bit more about your part.
Well, I get tortured to death in it, which is I'm sure a lot of people will be quite happy about, to be honest with you. But and my character's his death is prolonged. They so you don't quite know whether he's going to live or whether he's going to die. But it's fantastic and exciting to play that part.
Is it not difficult to be in that kind of environment, because it is dark? Those scenes are very dark, aren't they? So how does that affect you as an actor when you finish your takes?
Acting's really easy. It's not difficult at all. It's just cowboys and Indians. We're just pretending, and that's all you got to remember. If I just stand on my mark, say my lines, hopefully I'll be in the film.
And what was it like with the other lead actors? What contributed? How did it work contributing with them?
Working with Martin and Paul really raised my game. They were exceptional, and I must just say how wonderful Paul Anderson is in this film. Take nothing away from anyone else, nothing away from Martin Compston, from Maskell, but Paul Anderson in this film is just brilliant. I haven't seen a performance like it.
I don't want this anymore.
Stay focused, Joe. Is this what you want? You're not done, Joe.
We've got to finish this tonight, me and you.
I don't even know who you are!
I'm Piggy.